Hey, welcome in. It's a special Thursday night edition of Hafeman Bros Packer Outright Opinions, which there's more going on with that. Tomorrow night you can catch our show, but tonight it's a special show because we have an official in the house, and unfortunately he's not wearing his zebra stripes tonight. He's wearing this. Oh! Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, Viking Moe.
Zebra stripes are on tomorrow.
Welcome to the show, Viking Mo. It's always good to see you
Thanks.
and connect with you, and we'll talk about Zadarius Smith. We'll talk about some things. Before we get to that, we have to get to this. I'm drinking. I picked up the cucumber mint Kolsch from Delta Beer Lab, and I got a tip today. So the guy who sold it to me was like one of the beer tenders there. Said to me, he's like, "Did you drink it cold, like fresh out of the cooler, or did you drink it after it warmed up a little closer? Got a little warmer?" And I was like, "Why?" And he said, "Well, because when it's cold, it's very minty, but as it warms up, then the cucumber flavor comes out." So I'm gonna pour it now. I'm gonna drink some mintiness to start, and then I'm gonna wait to see if that cucumber comes on later on in the show.
Can you hold up that can one more time?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because I think if you just put an S on the front of that.
Ah.
Just,
Hey, our coach doesn't like your big noisy horn, and he said it this week. What do you think about that, Eric?
I think he'll have to learn to live with it.
I don't think you're going to be blowing that horn at all the whole game.
Oh. Okay. All right.
How are you feeling about your team, Mo? Coming in? We didn't pay attention to the Vikings in the preseason. Give us a quick recap on the Vikings preseason.
I
They didn't play anybody.
Well, no, they
Just
played
like the
no one.
Packers.
They were 0-3 in the preseason. And
0-3.
the only starter that got any time was Ed Ingram, who's their rookie second-round pick, who ended up winning the starting job at right guard. And then once they realized, oh, he's pretty good, I think he's going to start for us, then they didn't play him anymore the rest of the preseason. So he got a little bit of time. Otherwise, that was the only starter that got any time. So they rested everybody, but the injury report came out, and there's only one guy on it, and he's still likely to play. So I guess it worked out health-wise, but we have no idea. And I think the other part and reason why they did that was because they didn't want to tip their hand at all about anything that they're going to do, any of their personnel, any of their schemes, or anything. It was very, very like beyond vanilla during the preseason, which was painful to watch. The only quarterbacks that played are no longer on the team, so it's
That was interesting.
it was kind of interesting, but I mean, it is what it is. So I appreciate how, so we got a new GM, new head coach, and they're just kind of cleaning house. They don't care what the previous regime, spent for draft capital on any of these guys. If they're good enough, they stay. If they're not, they're not. So that's kind of what they've done. And they made a few trades to pick up some guys. They got Jalen Reagor. We can talk about that too. But kind of at the last minute, the guy who was ironically taken one spot before Justin Jefferson. So they made a lot of changes. There's a lot of hope in the air, of course, and the idea with going from Zimmer to Kevin O'Connell is that they're going to open up the offense, kind of take the training wheels off. Zimmer was all about possessing the ball as opposed to scoring. He just wanted to eat up clock so the defense wouldn't get tired. So just possess the ball, just possess it. And they actually, a little stat for you, I found the Vikings led the league last year in second and long runs. So like incomplete pass, second and 10 and longer, they ran the ball over 60% of the time in that scenario, which is about 20% more than any other team in the league. So that's how conservative the offense was under Zimmer, at least last year. And I think the hope is that they're going to open that up offensively, and then the defense is brand new too. So it's a lot of unknowns.
We have some other. You said a lot of things there, and
Yeah,
a lot
just-
of Viking.
yeah,
it was a lot
sorry.
of Viking information right off the
sorry.
top.
Not a single person
I have a
cares.
lot to say.
It was almost too much for me to absorb. But I will say,
Yeah, I
one
don't
thing,
even know. I
remember
all,
the
all
last
I
thing
heard
we
was
said.
all I heard was we had two quarterbacks and we don't have them on a team. And I don't know what you said after that.
Now,
I'm sorry.
Well, first off, he talked about how the new regime is like, we don't care what kind of draft capital you spent on these guys.
Right.
Like we're sure we get rid of them. Now, I wish Ben and I have talked about it. There are guys that the Packers drafted that should have been out the door, and guys that showed up and played well that should have made the team, and they chose to keep all 11 draft picks and cut a bunch of guys that were good.
Yeah,
and then they got him back. They got him back to the practice squad, but still, We wish that approach should be taken in Green Bay. The other thing, there is a fix, Eric. The other fix, other than changing a coach, for those second and long runs, is you just your quarterback can just change the play. Like that's what our quarterback does, and so then you don't have those runs on second down. You don't have to worry about it so much.
Well, that's the talk, is that Cousins wasn't allowed to change plays, and
I know
that's what you're getting at. Yeah,
I'm being snarky and facetious, Eric.
Well, it sounds like that's going to change under O'Connell as well. That's at least what he alluded to, is that he's going to have full reins of the offense and have a chance to actually change plays, because Zimmer isn't there to control what the offense does. So that's the hope, that they're going to open things up, because they certainly have plenty of playmakers. So
your quarterback, a lot of people thought he was a good leader and a good nerd. He likes Gandalf and all that. But do you think that's going to help him ascend higher than number 99 on the NFL Top 100 next year?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because you look at some of his numbers, and a lot of them were better than a lot of the guys that were higher. But it's not a game of numbers. The only number that matters for both head coaches and quarterback is wins, right? And so, did he elevate them under Zimmer? No. Is the hope that he can. He won't have. I'll put it this way: he won't have any excuses left, I don't think, after this year, right? If he really has a chance to call audibles, if they're really going to open things up in the passing game more with the weapons that he has, offensive line aside, with some weaknesses there, but he really doesn't have any legitimate excuse not to go up. And if he doesn't, then it's on him, right?
Mo, Rick expected you to upgrade your jersey for Zadarius Smith this year. You didn't do that, so he's a little disappointed. Thanks, Rick. Hey, Ben, tell Mo.
I got a question for Mo. Mo.
Oh, okay. All right. Questions.
Why is it that I can remember last year, spring of 2021, there was a certain guy who was waiting for that draft pick for the Vikes, and he said, "Good God, it can't be Mac Jones. Please, God, don't draft Mac Jones. Please, God, don't draft Mac Jones." And then the Patriots got a lucky steal, and then all of a sudden he was good. And then the Vikings drafted Kellen Mond in the third round, and he's cut. And yet Mac Jones is higher up on the top 100 than Kirk Cousins. Mo, what do you got to say about that?
I think it's unfounded, to be honest with you. I think Mac Jones had a fine rookie year, but he was not that great. He did fine. He was not that great. He was the best rookie quarterback of that class, but that's because he was the only good rookie quarterback of that class. And I think,
Justin Fields will tell you differently.
Okay, well, maybe he will this year. He sure didn't last year. And I think it's something where, and maybe Trey Lance will have something to say about it too, right? But it's something where it's something that it's about success and expectations, right? Cousins has over 4,000 yards, over 30 touchdowns, rating over 100, highest rating of his career, right? And then Mac Jones just did okay as a rookie, so he's great.
Most 40 plus yard touchdown passes in the NFL in the last 7 seasons, right, Ben?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, by the way.
Kirk Cousins, number one.
Number one. He's number one in some other obscure stats too for quarterbacks, and so I don't know. He's better than people think, and he's should be higher than 99. He should be higher than Mac Jones. I was so wrong on Trey Lance. Jordan Love's better than Trey Lance right now, so it's pretty messed up. Anyway, so we got to see Jordan Love. Our first round pick played a lot from a couple years ago in the preseason, and he showed some stuff. He's not going to play unless Rodgers has an injury, but he looked pretty good at times.
I wasn't going to get all the Packer preseason games.
Ben will tell you. Tell him, Ben.
Yeah, tell me, Ben.
Jordan Love.
We don't care. We're talking about Packers-Vikings opening game. We don't care about the preseason.
Right,
we don't care about Jordan Love.
All right, we
don't care anymore about Kellen Mond. I'm just giving him old crap because he said that Mac whatever sucks, and he didn't want him whatsoever, and yet somehow he's higher up on the top 100 than Kirk Cousins, his quarterback. That's all I'm just trying to say. And the other quarterbacks they had on the team, they cut them both because they sucked. And they picked up – who did they pick up? The 49er guy who sucked. He was so bad. He just kept throwing picks left and right to the Packers when they played him a couple years ago. What was that? Who's your backup now?
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins. That's the guy who threw picks to guys that aren't even in the NFL anymore that were Packers. Yeah. So he sucks. You better hope that Kirk Cousins don't get hurt. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
it's very minty.
Agreed.
Minty to start.
Nobody cares about mint.
So, Ben, then fine. You want to move on to that? Let's talk about Neither of our teams played players in the preseason. We don't know anything.
Nope, we don't know anything.
Except the Packers, Mo, played all their offensive linemen because
Oh,
they didn't know what the heck was going on with that. So they had to try to figure it out. And I don't know if it's figured out. We got some grumblings and rumblings and shifting around. What's the latest, Ben? What do you know?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, latest I heard from Bruce was that Jenkins is going to be playing left guard. Runyon's going to be right guard. And you got
What?
Myers at center. Bakhtiari's going to be in at left tackle. And Royce is your starting right tackle. That was
Where did you hear this?
That's from Bruce. And Bruce has got some inside sources. You know that.
has Newman played right tackle before?
He played no, but he's better at tackle than he is at guard, which isn't saying a whole lot.
Zadarius was really excited.
Before the end of the year, before the end of this Viking game, after Zadarius and what's his face, Daniil Hunter destroy Royce, Zach Tom will be in there before the end of the game. I guarantee it. Because they're going to cream him. If there's one thing that Zadarius can do is he'll find the weakest link and say, hey, everybody, you go over there. I got this guy. And then he's going to beat him. Because especially he knows the Packers offensive line. He's going to know how bad Royce is. He's going to go right at him. And that scares me. That scares the crap out of me, to be quite honest. But,
well, that side is Daniil Hunter's side. I don't
okay.
know if he's going to convince Hunter to flip sides with him or not.
He's a pretty charming guy. He's like, hey, just go play on the other side, guy. Don't worry about it. Well, that's just David Bakhtiari.
Yeah, I'd be like Bakhtiari, Royce Newman. I mean, come on. They're like the same.
We'll see. That'll be an interesting thing to watch in the game. See how that unfolds.
He's definitely going to try to do it. Or he'll line up an inside pass rusher.
He will.
And then he'll call a stunt. Like whether
so
the defense calls it or not. Yeah, so he can loop to Royce.
I see.
Because Royce is always confused. Like when guys loops, he's like, oh, there, go. My quarterback's over there.
It's not good.
It's pretty rough. Now, if that's what happens, I agree with the Jenkins at guard much better than a tackle, but I don't know. How much could Yash be struggling at right tackle, Ben, that they're going to
I heard that he's not good. I heard that he sucks. So at left tackle, yes, he's much better at left tackle. But with Bakhtiari, if Bakhtiari is back, then there you go. I mean, I just know from the initial depth chart, Jenkins is at right tackle starting, and Runyon's at left guard, and Royce is at right guard. So it's still the same guys, just lined up in different spots. But I still think Zach Tom, our rookie from the fifth round or fourth round pick, whatever he was, is going to be playing before the year's over because he's too good to not be playing. And then the other thing is there's no guarantee. Jenkins was a light participant in practice the other day. Bakhtiari was, I think, a full participant, though. So that's something.
So what are the Packers doing if there's no Jenkins, but there's Bakhtiari? What is it? How does it shake out? I know everybody loves offensive line, but the offensive line is the scariest part about the Packers team right now.
I don't know. It's probably going to be Royce Newman at right tackle and Hansen at right guard, and then it's going to be really bad.
Then Z will line up on that side all day long. He won't care.
Well,
okay. Lee has a solution. Hey, Lee and William's here, and of course Rick. William points out that Lazard is apparently now hurt. Aaron Rodgers cursed him with his stupid shirt that he made. Lee says, "Run the ball right at Z," and yes, we concur.
I agree.
That's a great plan. Great plan.
I agree, 100%.
What if the Packers do that, Mo? What if Aaron Rodgers doesn't change the plays, and the Packers run the ball right at Zadarius Smith? What do you think?
Well, okay. Two things. First of all, we kind of have to be nice to Z today because it's his birthday. So
don't care.
I figured you wouldn't, but I thought that's why I mentioned it. But it is his birthday today. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I'm most concerned about. The Vikings they were like 29th in the league in defense last year, which is more the reason why they lost games than it was the offense. But I digress. The worst part of that defense was their run defense, and they made a lot of changes. And obviously they're switching to a 3-4. And I know you guys have chronicled well, I think, the underwhelming effort that Zadarius Smith has put forth on certain running plays. I don't know. I think he's going to be obviously pretty up for this game. I don't know. Maybe he won't take those plays off as much in this scenario, at least. But I know that they brought in a lot of guys that were really their forte is run defense, especially in the interior part up front. Those three defensive linemen. So I'm hoping that they can eat it up enough blocks where it doesn't matter. But I mean, with both those backs and how well they ran the ball last year, that's my biggest concern. And especially if I think they know how to attack Zadarius Smith in the run game too. So if they keep moving him around, I don't know, maybe that will be harder to attack him. But hopefully the guys around him will help out, and hopefully he'll be up enough to actually make a stronger effort on run plays.
Hey, Ben, will Randall Cobb block Zadarius Smith in this game at some point?
I don't know. There's a strong possibility.
He goes back and reviews the film from last year or 2 years ago and sees Robert Woods handling him. He's probably like, yeah, I think I can do it.
I mean, during film review, how does that not come up? How does the coaches not chew him out for that? Like, to get blocked by just stonewalled by a wide receiver. I mean,
that was under the Mike Pettin years, and Mike Pettin openly said to the media that, Z, sometimes he just does what he wants to do, and it's not what the defensive call was, but he just trying to get to that quarterback. Okay, so now let's talk about all the things. Nobody wants to talk about offensive line. Let's talk about the things other people want to talk about. Ben, what do you got? You're working on some? Okay.
No, it's not working. I can't get it to work.
It was there, and then it went away. So
no, it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to come on. That's fine. It's not that big a deal. It's just Zadarius getting blocked by the receiver again. But what I think we need to talk about the Zadarius.
Okay.
Let's start there.
He's got
this week. It came out that he had an interview, and he said that when his back was hurt, that he got butt hurt because he would walk through the halls and nobody would say, "Hey Z, how's your back?" Like, nobody would be like, "Hey Z, like, how's it going, Z? Is your back getting better? Are you okay?" Nobody said that to him, and he got butt hurt. So he had a back hurt and a butt hurt. He should have been on the injury report twice. But he wasn't. And why? Why do you think nobody gave a crap, Z? Why do you think nobody walked past you and said, "Hey, Z, how's your back?" They just said, "Whatever." I'll tell you why. Because we show the video of you, Captain Z. I'm going to make myself the captain. You know why? Because nobody else wants you as the Captain, Z. Because you're a selfish butthole. And that's why when you got hurt and you walked around the facility and nobody said, "Z, was your back okay?" That's why nobody cared, Z. Because you took all the credit for all the plays you made, even though you didn't do jack squat on like 99% of the other damn plays that when you were on the field. But yet you took the one credit for the 1%. And then now your back hurts, so you can't play. But then mysteriously you got just better for the playoffs. Huh! You showed up for the playoffs, Z. Just in time for you to suck it up again like you did the last two times.
Oh, you get that play on the first defensive series, and then you shut her down.
When he didn't get blocked and the guy fell over and he made it, and he's lined up at defense tackle, yes. No, but that's the thing that's interesting to me. Because I don't care about Zadarius Smith saying that, I signed with the Vikings just so I could play the Packers twice. Because, most people will be like, I signed for the money, or I signed to try to get a chance to the Super Bowl. Not Zadarius. He's too selfish. He signed to get back at the Packers. He had a deal with the Ravens.
Yeah, right.
And then he's like, wait a minute, I can play the Packers twice because nobody was concerned about my back. So I'm going to go sign with the Vikings for less money. And there you go. But what I'm saying is this. That's fine. There's the reason why, Z. There's a reason why people don't give a crap. Because you weren't good. You were an athletic guy who could beat the guy in front of you. But that was it. You didn't know what was going on otherwise. You couldn't get off blocks of wide receivers. And you sure as hell weren't a good teammate. And then he said in the thing, I'm the guy who brought the culture there, he said. I brought the culture to the Packers the first two years he was there.
Come on.
You did bring the culture, Z. You brought the selfish jerk face culture. And that's why when they got to the playoffs, we get to the playoffs, NFC Championship games, what happened to him? Oh, he sucked. He disappeared. but he brought that culture. And
He
you know
said
what it was?
wasn't
He's like,
ready
oh,
to-
you know what? We just weren't ready. We just weren't up for the game. It's just the NFC Championship game, but we just didn't have it in us. We just couldn't quite get there. That's the culture you brought, Z. The culture of the second biggest game of the year, but you can't seem to get up for it. But you're all fired up to play the Packers, and now you're a Viking because somebody said, or nobody was concerned about your back when you walked through the hallway at Lambeau. What is that stuff? So you know what? I'm worried because I know who he's going up against. It's Royce, so I'm a little scared. But I'm worried more for the Vikings because Mo, he's not there to win the championship. He's not there to help the Vikings win. He's there to help Z. Z wants to eat. Z wants to do his crawl on the ground. That's what Z wants to do. And I showed you the video of him getting the sack when everybody else made a play, and then he just stood there, and then the guy came up to him and he got the sack, and then and Preston Smith was like, "What the crap?" And nobody celebrated with him. That's why. That's why. When you got to make your own captain ring, nobody's going to say hi to you in the hallway. So that's all I got to say about that.
All right,
good riddance. Good riddance.
So Mo, tell us, did the Vikings vote on captains yet?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Is Zadarius a captain?
No.
Are you sure? Are you sure he doesn't have a captain somewhere?
Is he an
Hidden?
honorary captain?
I don't know if he's honorary, but no.
I wonder if he got butt hurt because he wasn't captain. I mean, he's bringing the culture, the Packers winning culture over to the Vikings. He should get a captain right away.
I got a lot of veteran
what are your
guys on
concerns, Mo?
defense
How
that
do you
have been
feel?
there. How do I feel? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, about that situation, I'll just say, this is scary for me, but I tend to agree with Ben because it just sounded a lot like sour grapes to me. I mean, the whole thing. I mean,
Well, he's wearing purple.
Why do you got to bring that up? Not you. I met him. I don't think
I know.
there's any reason to bring that up, and I don't even like it when guys talk about their former team in any kind of light that way. I'm moving on or whatever, and but the guys who kind of complain about how they're treated and those sorts of things, like, I guess if you get probed by the question, maybe you can try to skirt around it, but I don't see any reason to air that stuff. It doesn't really. All it does is just if anything, motivate the other team, and it kind of makes you look bad as a person, in my opinion. But
The guy made nearly $20 million last year for doing nothing.
Yeah.
Shut up. So somebody didn't say hi to you when you walked through. So they weren't concerned about your back. Take the $20 million to the bank and keep your damn mouth shut. They're still paying you $11 million this year to not even be on the damn team. So shut up. Shut up. My screen's all weird. I don't know if it's me that's bad or if it's you guys, but it's probably me.
Yeah, I got a little delay, but you're back on. Okay, so wow. Well, Zadarius, he made a splash when he came to Green Bay, and he's making a splash his first season in Minnesota. But at least, as we pointed out in the show, $11+ million are being paid by the Packers to play for the Vikings this year.
the Packers
So
are paying them more than the Vikings are this year.
Right. So at least you feel good about that. Now,
Yeah.
he's probably going to show up in this game. I expect him to play hard, at least some plays. If he gets a couple sacks, though, he might just be like, that's good enough. But I do expect him to play hard in this game. I just don't expect it to be a season-long thing. So that would be my warning.
I mean, he will get up for this game,
Yeah.
and then he'll get up for the one in Lambeau.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping the Packer fans let him have it. Because if these comments wouldn't have happened, I think the Packer fans would have been very good with him when the game comes to Lambeau.
Sure.
But with saying this crap like this, Packer fans are going to be like, they're going to be like having crybaby. There'll be guys with diapers on and be like, "Baby Z, no one said hi to me." I mean, come on.
They might forget it by then because I don't think we played until late in the season, but
They'll bring it up again.
you won't. You'll remind them all.
Oh, yes. I will say this. Not a single Packer I don't think there's any Packer players who have even brought, they've asked them. I saw an interview with,
you see how uncomfortable Preston is when they ask him about Zadarius now?
yeah, he doesn't like it.
He's really uncomfortable. He's like, yeah, because he had to be the Smith brother for those couple of years, and
Right.
he was like, after 1 year of it, he was like, I don't want to do this crap anymore.
Mhm.
I just want to be, solid, good player, and this guy takes all the limelight, and we got to do all these interviews together. It's kind of annoying, and he had to go along with it until Z got hurt last year, and then he took a break from it, and it was great for him.
Well, even 2020, I think that was I mean, maybe the pandemic was the best thing that happened for Preston, or maybe even the Packers, to be honest, because they stopped doing interviews together because they were doing Zoom interviews, and then Preston got a chance to just be himself and say things and do whatever. And Z was still Z, but it was fine. But I mean, listen, he's going to make plays. He is a good player. There's no doubt. I mean, he works hard. He's got some strength. He's got some athletic ability.
He has ability.
He's dumb as a box of rocks and selfish as hell. So I mean, I don't want that guy on my team, but he's a perfect Viking. That sounds like a Viking.
Wow.
He's not very aware. Is the thing. Yeah.
Now, Chandon Sullivan, I'll be sad when I see him in purple, but
Yeah.
I got a new replacement there for Chandon Sullivan right here.
29. So, okay. Wow. So we talked about Z. We talked about offensive line, which nobody cares about, but it's the most important thing for the Packers. Mo, let's talk about the exciting players everybody likes to talk about. Tell people about what the Viking fans, what's the Vikings' hope in this game for playing the Packers?
Besides to win, I think.
What do they think? Who's going to help you win?
Yeah,
Like,
well, I
who's gonna
think
stand up and
obviously
play well?
everyone knows about Justin Jefferson and his quick ascension. Most receiving yards by any player in the first 2 years of his career. And then obviously Adam Thielen, still a solid pro. KJ Osborne, who's their third receiver, really emerged last year, had 9 touchdowns. They think they could potentially, that's why I have it on the screen there. You can't see all 3 of them there, but their heads got cut off. But that's the 3 receivers. I think it's like the 3 deep that they have there. And they're thinking all 3 of them could maybe have 1,000 yards receiving this year if they really do open up the offense. In terms of some things to look at for
before you go on from that,
yeah.
I have bad news for you. We have 3 great corners
Yeah.
on the Packers, so it takes those 3 guys right out of the game right there. So okay, you need more hope. Give us more hope.
Well, I think if Stokes on Jefferson, that didn't go too well last year, but
Well, that's not going to happen. Jair will be on him. Jair will be on him, or Stokes will be on him, but he'll have safety help.
Yeah, I think that could be a really fun matchup. Jair versus Justin Jefferson. It could be fun. So fine, that's those 3. One person you may have forgotten about just because you're Packer fans and you don't maybe follow the team like I do is Irv Smith Jr., who missed all of last year injury. They're really high on him. Very explosive pass catching tight end who's finally healthy again this year. So that's one thing that I'm looking forward to seeing. And then of course you still have Dalvin Cook back there. The run
I accidentally got him in fantasy draft for my first pick because I was stuck on the screen. I couldn't figure out how to get out of it.
It was an accident.
It auto picked Dalvin Cook. I did not want Dalvin Cook. I would have picked a myriad of other players, but I got Dalvin Cook, so I guess I kind of want him to do well.
But we all know who he didn't auto pick. My guy, he freaking took my guy like a freaking jerk, and my sister took my other guy like a freaking jerk. I don't want to get into all that, but
all right, Viking Moe. Sorry to interrupt. Continue.
You're fine.
Continue.
I'm the guy who said Justin Herbert is going to be the best quarterback in the history of all time.
So why didn't you draft
way
him in the first
before
round?
the draft? I'm the guy who said I would trade all first round pick this year and next year to go all the way up to the top 10 to get Justin Herbert. The year that Packers drafted Jordan Love, I said they should do that. So I knew Justin Herbert was the man. Nobody else did. This guy right here, genius level quarterback mind. That's why I know Baker Mayfield way better.
No.
Well, see, and that's
way
what,
better than other guys.
You made that statement to me that you were going to draft Baker Mayfield late and start him on your fantasy team, so I thought you weren't going to go with Herbert. That was why I thought he was on the table, and then you got super mad when I picked him, and then I felt bad, and then I couldn't sleep, and I felt really bad. Anyway, that's fantasy football stuff. Never mind. All right.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
Mo, are you worried about what David's bringing up? Is that the Packers could make Christian Watson come into the game and run really fast down the field? Are you worried about that on the defensive side of the ball?
Not really. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a little more worried about, is it Dubs? Is that how you pronounce it? Romeo Dobbs.
Dobbs.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Some people
he sounds
want
like
it
he's
to
had
be
a lot
Doobs.
more of a impactful camp in preseason, and so I don't know. To me, that sounds a little bit more exciting. I think because wasn't Watson hurt quite a bit still? Is he even healthy? Is he good to go?
He's healthy. Full
Okay.
full participant in practice.
He's good to go now. He's
Okay.
the only fast guy. He's the MVS replacement with a
Okay.
much higher pick. Aaron Rodgers says he's just a different type of guy. And so he has to be that guy that, creates some fear
Yeah,
in the
sure.
defense. So that's what we need him for. Now, whether he catches the ball or whether they throw it to him, it doesn't really matter. He just has to
they won't throw it to him.
generate
They won't throw it to
fear.
him.
Yeah.
But now our wide receiver 1 is potentially hurt, Alan Lazard. How do you feel about that? Does that make you feel better?
I mean, that's probably the person he has the most chemistry with, I would assume, besides maybe Cobb, I suppose, right? So I guess that's fine. I mean, I don't want anyone to be hurt. I'd rather just play each team at their best and do it that way. But
you're such a good guy, Viking.
Very honorable, very honorable, very honorable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it also kind of takes away excuses like, well, we didn't have Lazard. I mean, I don't know. Is that really going to make a big difference? I don't know. I think what I'm more concerned about from my perspective is can they stop the run? Can they stop Jones and Dillon? And if they didn't do too well at that last year. Different defense this year. Defense is kind of predicated also on creating pass rush, so they don't have to cover as much, which I think fits the strengths and weaknesses of the personnel that they have. So, but it'll be interesting to see how explosive the Packers are in the passing game without some of the weapons he's used to having. I know how you guys feel about Devontae Adams. It's been well chronicled. But in 15 games against the Vikings, he had like 93 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and 13 touchdowns. So I'm kind of glad he's not playing in this game, and someone else has to try to fill in that kind of production. I think that might be tough to do. But
10.2 yard average.
Yeah, real scary.
Well, that's still almost a touchdown per game, and I don't know. That's pretty good for not even a full season stats right there against a team. So
how many targets?
We're curious.
How many targets did he have?
We're curious to see how
that's right.
Aaron Rodgers is going to play without Devontae Adams. Will he spread the ball around like when Devontae Adams wasn't there, when it's injured the last couple seasons, and he had to throw the ball around to different people? Will he do that again? Or will he be fixated on his guys that he's most comfortable with and not just throw to the open guy? So I want to see the guy who throws the open guy. Ben, okay.
I got to tell you something. Did you see the Bussin' with the Boys?
I couldn't watch it. No, I couldn't.
It's really terrible. It's not really good.
I know.
But because the guy, that Will Compton guy, is he's not the smartest guy in the world. But anyways, Rodgers was on there, and he had some enlightening things I heard from him that made me, maybe realize some things that I said 2-3 years ago that were exactly fucking right. He said, I can't quote it because I don't know exactly what it was, but it's very close to this. He told LaFleur in the offseason of 2020, before they drafted Jordan Love, when he said they spent a lot of time working on the offense, getting rid of a bunch of stuff from Matt LaFleur's offense that he didn't like and didn't work, and getting all that stuff that he liked from his stuff that he liked to do. He also said,
one-on-one matchups.
Okay, hold on. It's not exactly a quote, but he said he wanted to be less of a game manager. He felt he was more of a game manager in 2019 when Aaron Jones led the league in touchdowns, total touchdowns, because the offense ran smoothly and they had a balanced offense. But Rodgers couldn't handle that. He couldn't handle. I told you there was one time after the game he threw it was a Irvin Fryer route to Lazard underneath, like a 2-yard pass. And all the guys went over the top, cleared the top out. Lazard comes across, and Lazard runs for 40-some yards for a touchdown or something. And then after the game, the reporters asked him about it, and he's like, well, I mean, I didn't really have to do anything on that play. I just threw it out there, and, it wasn't very exciting. Rodgers doesn't like that play.
What?
He likes it when he's got to throw it 45 yards in the air between two guys, and then the guy just catches it in the end zone.
Sounds a lot like Za'Darius.
Why does
yes, it's very much like Za'Darius.
Football so hard. I don't understand.
Exactly. But in this interview, that's what he said. He said he felt he wanted to feel less like a game manager. That's what he said. Also, he said the guy asked him what he thought about LaFleur. And he said, I quote, LaFleur is a grinder. Didn't say he was smart. Didn't say he knew what he was talking about. I'm pretty sure Rodgers thinks he's way more of a genius than LaFleur by a million, which is why he had to change the offense after the first year. and add his geniusness in, which of course leads to 9 consecutive drives with no points in the playoff game. But, who are we to judge Aaron Genius Rodgers?
And 12 years with no Super Bowls. But yeah, okay.
Right. But so he said he's a grinder. And then he's like, he loves it, or he'll show up and he'll have 4 or 5 plays that are just drawn up each week that are great plays, and it's awesome. And he grinds and he really grinds and he grinds. That's what he said. He didn't say he's a smart guy. He didn't say he was a good coach. He just said he's a grinder. That's what he said. So take it as you will. I think I personally love the 2019 offense much better than the last 2 years, where it was just Devontae Adams 170 targets, the next guy 65. That don't sound that good.
Now it did eliminate your issue with the offensive line. If the offensive line was terrible, at least that wasn't as big of an issue because he was just throwing all those smoke screens and all that crap all the time and all that. Whatever.
Well, that's the other thing. In 2019, they had Corey Linsley, who played pretty good, and they actually had Bulaga, who actually played pretty good that year, surprisingly.
Brian Bulaga. His best year as a Packer was his last.
Yeah. And that was the thing, is like they actually ran their weakest link was, of course, Billy Turner at right guard at the time. But that didn't matter for Aaron Jones because he just, made things happen.
Just think if they had played LP at right guard that year, they would have.
They would have been a lot better.
Had 30.
But anyways, I'm sorry I got onto that little tangent there, but I saw that interview and I just had to bring it up because, hey, it's just proven once again. Aaron Rodgers loves to be the hero. Aaron Rodgers wants to be the hero. He doesn't want to be the guy who just wins. And I'll say it till the day I die. That's why Tom Brady's got 7 championships. Aaron Rodgers has only been to 1 Super Bowl. That's why. Tom Brady will do whatever it takes to win. Even if it means dumping it off to his running back. Even if it means dumping it to frickin' Julian Edelman. Even if it means throwing it to Gronk. He doesn't care. Throw a 2-yard run to Gronk, and then 3 guys try to tackle him, and they can't, and he runs 12 yards in the end zone. He'd rather do that than try to throw a bullet laser into the back of the end zone. But not Rodgers. He wants to be the hero every play. And just like I bring up that interview with Mike Tirico, where Mike Tirico said, yeah, because they were talking about the 2019 offense. He's like, yeah, it seems like you don't have to do as many magic plays this year. It seems like it's kind of more of the offense and whatever. And Rodgers is like, well, I kind of like the Houdini plays. He called them Houdini plays. And Rodgers like, I like the Houdini plays. So that just shows the difference between a guy who, it's like when you watch the Packers and Vikings, it's the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to quarterback. One guy will just do what the play is, and that's it.
To a fault.
And
no
if it
Houdini
doesn't
plays there.
Right.
There's
And
no
if it
Houdini.
doesn't work, you're screwed. Rodgers could do that, and then if the play breaks down, make a Houdini play. But he'd rather just, I could throw it a 5-yard out route for the first down, but let's throw the 40-yard bomb that's going to get, incomplete or throw out of bounds or something stupid, and then we have to punt the ball. Because that's what he does sometimes. And it's really pathetic and annoying when I have to watch it and I get pissed because they stop a drive that was going well because Aaron Rodgers and A.J. Dillon, or Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon got the ball inside the 30-yard line. And the next thing you know, Rodgers is going pass, and we got a punt because he got sacked. And they're at the 42, and Mason Crosby can't kick a damn field goal unless it's within 35 yards. Bam! Okay, I'll shut up.
Wow.
All right. So Eric, before we move on to some Viking stuff.
Oh yeah,
for
Vikings suck.
Okay, how do you feel about that? Like that situation? Because that is a legit situation with the Packers quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you feel like a guy that doesn't want to make the simple play because it's not exciting enough to him? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really how it is. I guess that does come across as a little selfish to me. I think I don't know. I appreciate that they want to play the game and have fun and everything, but sometimes 5-yard out routes is the right play and it's not that exciting. But I think the example for Brady is a great one. Like he'll still make some great plays, but he'll make a lot of boring ones too that just get the job done. So I don't know. That's unfortunate. At the same time, it'd be kind of fun as a fan if you could see a few more Houdini plays, but that's okay. I mean, even without that, without buying a lot of time and making a crazy throw and all that stuff, you still, there's plenty of excitement to be had. It's just, you make a great throw and then let the guy who's a superior athlete than the quarterback make a crazy run or a catch or whatever, and that's pretty fun to watch too. But I don't know. One side is great to have that ability, and the other side, it's like apparently it can be a little addicting and not have you make the easy play.
It just seems to be, and it also goes along with all the checks and all the Rodgers stuff that receivers have to know in order to play with him. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, how receivers have to adapt to him. He will never adapt to the personnel he has around him. They have to learn to play football the way he wants to play football. And it's a more complicated way. And for like a rookie receiver, and just a lot of receivers, it just adds a whole another element that maybe they're not ready for, or maybe that's not a good fit for them. So why don't you find a way as the leader of the team, as the quarterback, to utilize them the best way you can? But Aaron Rodgers doesn't do that. He does things his way and expects everyone to play the way he wants to. It's disappointing, and it makes football harder, and it doesn't have to be harder. Simple plays, I love them. Just a quick flashback, Eric. There was with the Vikings Packers opener coming up. There was a quick Packers did a share on social media where they showed the Jair Alexander sack on Kirk Cousins' safety in the end zone. And Kirk was actually tucking the ball. Jair Alexander stood like 3 yards away from him. He's already tucking the ball and like going down into his shell, prepared to just take the safety right there. So
Yeah.
it's hilarious. Anyway,
it's night and day. It's yin and yang between Rodgers and Cousins.
Yeah,
It just is.
oh, that's really bad.
but one has the most 40-yard touchdowns in the last 7
That's true.
years, and one certainly isn't even close. Isn't
Not even in the top
20.
10. Not even in the top 10.
Lee says, do you think the red zone
Lee.
offense will be better this year, and how so? Thank you, Lee, for good, appropriate questions to get us off of that tangent. Let's see. For Packers, we'll do Packers and we'll do Vikings. Ben, Packers red zone offense was not great. How can it be better this year?
Well, you have to lean on the guy who is the monster in the middle, and that's A.J. Dillon. The key to a red zone offense, especially when you don't have a number one receiver, which we don't have at this point, because you just call the play for that guy and then throw it to him, which is what they did, which is actually dumb, if you ask me, but that's fine. When you got A.J. Dillon, use him. Full head of steam, going straight at the defense, okay? But guess what? There's this thing called play action. It's pretty awesome, especially when you got a really big monster running back, and like the defense is like, crap, we got to stop this big fat monster running back. Except guess what? Psych! Wide open Mercedes Lewis in the end zone. Hello.
Even Mercedes could get open.
Hello. Even Mercedes slow butt can get open.
no.
And you know why? Because he didn't block the guy. He certainly missed his block. So you might as well run around and catch the ball because you didn't going to block anybody because he's used like a tackle out there. Yeah, okay. Anyways.
And let's just clarify real quick. A.J. Dillon, I don't think he has hardly an ounce of fat on him. Ben and I saw him in person. Ben, tell Mo about A.J. Dillon. What
Mo, he's a freaking alien, dude. He's a freaking alien.
He's like a Greek god. He's like, it's insane. It makes no sense.
His waist is about the same as my neck. And his shoulders are about as wide as my waist. So, yeah, it's weird.
Wow.
And it's monster. And the weird part was he had the shoulder pads on all practice. And I thought it was just the shoulder pads that made his shoulders that big. And I knew his legs were humongous, right? And then he has a tiny little waist. He's super skinny, like in the waist, but like monstrous in the legs. And I was like, okay, this guy he does a lot of the leg work, right? Okay. And then after practice, he took his freaking shoulder pads off. And his shoulders were just as damn wide as when they had his shoulder pads on. I was like, holy crap, this guy's huge. He just doesn't even look real. It looks like a superhero draw, like when they draw a superhero, I don't even know, whoever. Some monster who came to life. And that's what I'm saying. Use him. Use him.
Third year. Let's go.
Bash him in there. He'll get 3-4 yards. Bash him in there. He'll get 3 more yards.
Well,
And then
Aaron
the
Rodgers
next-
keep the play on.
Or on second down, play action. Like if the first down was successful, play action on second down. Wide open DeGuara in the end zone because he spider whatever why bananaed it. Who knows? That's what I want to see more of. Or possibly a lot of this and that, moving here and there. Don't wait for the play clock to go to 1 second. when the defense knows the ball is going to get snapped, maybe do a quick snap. Maybe they'll not be set up right. Get lined up right away. How many times do you watch the Packers in the red zone? There was one time Rasul Douglas had to cover 2 guys when the other team was at the 2-yard line because the other guy didn't come over to help him. So there's 2 receivers lined up over here and only 1 Packer. And then they threw a touchdown pass. And it's like, well, what was Rasul going to do? He's the only defender over there. He went to the closest one and tried to cover both, but it didn't work, obviously. But why did that happen? Because they just went to line of scrimmage, snapped the ball, boom. Packers weren't set up on defense. Same kind of stuff. Be smart. Be aggressive. Don't be predictable, but be predictable. Which sounds weird.
Do what makes sense.
Do what most teams would do by predictable is use your big guy, but also change up the tempo. Don't be the same that you always have been. Don't be shotgun with Aaron Jones over here with a fake handoff to Aaron Jones and then a quick pass, and then everybody knows what's happening and nobody blocks, and then the receiver gets 2 yards. It happens all the time, and it never works. Also, maybe bring Jordan Love in because apparently he's great at the 5-yard end zone in the corner pass.
He's excellent at the fade ball.
He completed 1 million of those passes this preseason. So, hey, that's the other option. Bring Jordan Love in when you get inside the 5-yard line. Packers #1 in red zone offense this year. Okay, I'm done.
But, Eric, what are you excited about in this game for your team? What are you excited to see?
Well, like I said, I think I alluded to before, I think the matchup between Jair and Justin Jefferson, if they do match up quite a bit, would be pretty fun to watch to see who wins those battles more often. There's obviously tons of storylines with Zadarius Smith and how he does in this game. I'm really excited just to kind of see what they're going to be. I'm being told there's going to be a lot of motion in the offense. They're switching from a wide zone to more of a mid zone, which I don't want to go back to offensive line too much, but that's more where you're kind of double teaming the linemen. So you move the line of scrimmage and then they peel off and hit the second level. And I think that fits this offensive line really well and something that will still work for Dalvin Cook. So it'll be interesting to see how well they still run the ball and how much they run the ball versus pass the ball. And then, defensively, are they going to, I know how you feel about Zadarius, but if he can get 15 sacks this year, and kind of regain his form. And if Danielle Hunter can stay healthy and regain his form, he's a double-digit sack guy too. I mean, they could have 30 sacks total between the two of them for the season for a team that was second in the league in sacks last year without them, right? They had 51 sacks as a team. So, and then that can just help really protect the secondary. I mean, they still have Patrick Peterson. They have some younger guys. They still have Harrison Smith. They actually didn't cover that poorly. They just had to cover a really long time last year. So I'm interested to see. I'm hearing a lot that they're going to be more aggressive. Zimmer was always more cover, and then contest the pass. And this has been more under a Donatel about jumping routes, being aggressive, knowing that your pass rush is going to get there. So stay aggressive and stay sticky early in the play. So I'm interested to see how that kind of all pans out. And obviously I'm hoping for a great game. So I think these always tend to be pretty fun games to watch. The one in the Dome last year was fun, and obviously worked out in a way that made me happier than not. But it was a back and forth game, and I think a lot of these tend to be that way. So I'm hoping it ends up being that way too.
I got a question about the new defense. Do you have any clue what it's going to look like? Like what they're doing? I mean, they haven't shown anything. Have you heard whispers up there about are they playing 2 defensive tackles with Zadarius and Danielle Hunter at defensive end role with then a couple linebackers and 5 defensive backs? Is that their base set, or are they doing more the traditional 3-4? And Danielle Hunter is he lined up as an outside linebacker now that they switched to a 3-4, or is he still lined up as a more 4-3 defensive end? It's just they're playing it differently with Zadarius there and whatever. I'm just trying to figure out what. Yep. If you know anything about that, because as Packer fans, we don't know anything. We haven't seen anything. So I don't know what they've been talking about as reporters and stuff.
They completely have switched to a 3-4 base defense for the first time in 30 years. Yeah. For the Vikings anyway. So both Hunter and Zadarius are listed as the outside linebackers with Eric Kendricks and then and Hicks as the middle linebackers. So it is a true 3-4 with Harrison Phillips, who they signed from Buffalo to be the nose tackle. Dalvin Tomlinson, who played nose last year, is going to be one of the defensive ends. quote unquote, and then Bullard is a good run stopper, will be the other defensive end. They'll rotate guys in. They'll have more passing prowess, pass rushing prowess. I think they'll probably move Za'Darius inside on passing plays. When they go nickel, they also have a penny package, so that the penny is the 3 linemen and then 3 linebackers and then 5 defensive backs. Where they probably take Hicks out. So they'll do nickel, penny, and then the base 3-4 defense a lot. They also talked a lot about 3 safeties because they have the rookie first round pick they took. Scene, who is not going to start. They're going with Cameron Bynum, who was a rookie last year, played really well, and then Harrison Smith. They want to get Scene in there as well. So, but that's just what they've said. I haven't seen any 3 safeties packages, and a lot of teams play with 3 wide receivers, so they'll probably be in nickel or penny most of the time, and maybe not that base 3-4. But when they are, they will have 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers on the field.
This is kind of wild. Like so many of these teams not playing or showing anything in the preseason. Like we really don't know what to expect. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who the heck's out there, who's lined up where, how much of certain defenses are they playing. What are the rotations on some of the substitutions and stuff like that? Like, it's going to be wild to see it. The thing with the Packers, like, we're curious how much tight end, how many, because everybody made a big deal about the receivers, and they kept 7 receivers on the roster.
Oh, wow.
How many receivers are actually going to be on the field? Are they going to do a lot of 2 tight ends? Are going to do a lot of, like, bigger packages and then Dillon and Jones on the field at the same time? Probably. So how much are they going to use those receivers? I don't know.
Well, here's what I'm excited to hear. I'm so excited that Za'Darius Smith and Danielle Hunter are listed as outside linebackers.
Yeah, that's good.
That makes me very happy. And I think
because they don't cover. How many times did Za'Darius drop into coverage, Ben?
0, and except for in practice. And when Aaron Jones was number 33 on the NFL Top 100 a couple years back, Za'Darius is one of the guys talking about him. He's like, yeah, in practice, it's like, they want me to try and cover Aaron Jones? Like, come on, coach. I can't cover Aaron Jones. Well, guess what, Za'Darius? You may have to cover him on Sunday. That's a little Woody Woodpecker for you. He's been chopping at my freaking deck, that freaking jerk. But anyways, we're going back to the Pack and the Vikes. I'm excited. I want to see some A.J. Dillon, some Aaron Jones, some DeGuara, some Robert Tonyan, and, are you ready for this? And Big Dog. 3 tight ends, 2 running back sets against this base set, and see how the Vikings look at it. They're like, what are we going to do? And then they bring all these big guys in. And guess what? A.J. Dillon's got hands like Robert Tonyan, apparently. He catches everything. Nobody knew because at Boston College, he only caught 2 balls the whole freaking 4 years he was there, but he ran like a madman. And they was like, we don't need to freaking pass it to him. He comes to the Packers. He's got hands like glue. Aaron Jones, we know that he's shiftier than dog crap. Who's going to cover him? Sure ain't going to be Za'Darius. I'm pretty sure Danielle Hunter is not going to be able to cover him. Therefore, we're going to attack the outsides. Let's move some Aaron Jones in motion, get him to the outside, pull that middle linebacker out of there because they know that the outside linebackers can't cover him, so they're not even going to bother. Boom, big hole up the middle, A.J. Dillon running right at you, smack-a-rooney. I'm telling you, that's the key to beating the Vikes. Force them into playing Za'Darius and Danielle Hunter at outside linebacker with 3 defensive linemen because of your formation you call. 2 running backs, possibly 2 tight ends, which sounds crazy. But let's face it, Robert Tonyan's not really a tight end. He's just a big wide receiver. He can't block worth a crap. And DeGuara can move around, do some stuff. He always finds the seam in the second level. He's really good at knowing where to go. I'm telling you. And then, you know what? I changed my mind. Not Mercedes. Christian Watson, just have him run straight real fast and take the top off the defense, which then forces them to be worried, which will open up that hole underneath for Robert Tonyan, in the second level, just past the linebackers, because one of them got taken out because Aaron Jones went in motion, and also A.J. Dillon's come to the gut. This guy's coming up for A.J. Dillon, and then guess what? Christian Watson's going deep, so the safety's going deep. Big, giant hole, Robert Tonyan, 20-yard pass, right down the seam. Hello, boom. Awesome play, designed by me, yours truly. That's all you got to do.
Jordan Love would make that throw.
Oh, my God.
Oh, we know Aaron Rodgers won't, but hey. But what I'm saying is, that's what I want to see, Mo. Aren't you scared a little bit? Za'Darius Smith can't cover anybody. Danielle Hunter hasn't covered anybody in years.
Isn't it ironic?
He's been a pass rusher.
Isn't it really funny that last year or 2 years ago we were talking about how light the Vikings defensive ends were in the 4-3? Yeah. And then they get a big, huge guy like Za'Darius Smith, and now he's going to play outside linebacker.
Right. their size has completely changed. And, hey, I gotta along that same line. I gotta tell you, I think that the Vikings punter might be bigger than some of your defensive ends. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. Is their new punter this year? He was undrafted, but he beat him out. He's been. It was kind of a nice surprise, but yeah. So we got a big fat punter, which is great.
Awesome.
You know, Mo, I really hope we see a lot of that punter on Sunday.
That's
All right.
fair.
I know Mo's got to get going here, so Eric,
I
we'll
got a
give
few
you
more minutes because I got to clap back a minute here because I have a well, not really clap back because I kind of agree with you because I have the same concern. I'm like, well, okay, they have a 3-4, but so if they rush Daniil, what are they going to do? Are they going to are you going to rush 5 every time? You can't rush 5 every time. So who's going to fall back in coverage here? And Daniil's a good athlete. I mean, he's kind of a freak, but he hasn't really done it. So I don't know what that's going to look like. But at the same time, so many teams run like 11 personnel that you're going to be a nickel most of the time, where you're going to have 2 down linemen and then the 2 outside linebackers, which would just basically be like defensive ends if you're going to be in nickel most of the time anyway. So I don't know. That brought me some comfort because otherwise I don't really know what are they going to do. I just rather than blitz and rush 5 every time if that's the case. I don't know.
Well, if Royce is one of the 5 offensive linemen and you rush 5, then he has to block somebody. So that's probably a good plan.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Well, it's going to be interesting. I think one key of their defense that they've been saying is that they disguise things well, so you don't really know what the defense is doing. There's not going to be like that double A gap stuff that Zimmer always used to do, but they have a way of disguising what they're going to do is what they're saying. And I guess Cousins has mentioned it too. He's like in camp where he's like, it's taken me a while. I had some bad days. I don't really know. I can't tell what the defense is doing. So I think they're hoping with some of that stuff, not really exposed in the preseason that might catch some people off guard. But I don't know. Roger's been doing it a long time. He's pretty good about, deciphering defenses, at least in my opinion. You might have a different one, but
well, he wasn't very good against the 49ers in the playoff game.
He's pretty good at running that play clock down all the way. So
just watch Kurt Wagner. Oh my God, what am I saying? Kurt Warner. Wagner. Kurt Wagner. Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler did a breakdown. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Kurt Warner did a breakdown after the playoff loss to the 49ers last year in January. And it's on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. But it shows a lot of what the 49ers did where they'd line up in what was obviously looked like a man. Like, guys would move in motion with the receiver would go in motion and they'd move with them. And then the ball would get snapped and all of a sudden that guy would just drop back into his zone and a linebacker would go into the spot where he was at. And Rodgers thought he had everybody was in man. All of a sudden, nobody was open. Like he thought this guy was going to be open here, and then he wasn't. There's nothing there, and he held the ball too long, and nothing happened. And it happened over and over. And then there were times where it looked like it was a zone. Guy would move in motion, nobody would go with them. Rodgers thought for sure it was zone. Snapped the ball. All of a sudden, boom! You got tight man coverage. Guys getting beat up, and nobody's open that way. And they didn't take advantage of it. They didn't run plays to take advantage of the changes. And the 49ers changed right before the snap. And you know why? Because they knew. Because Rodgers holds the ball till 1 second left on the clock because he thinks he can see things. Well, the 49ers also know that. And then they adjusted what they were doing. And I know that, these guys, the new coaches of the Vikings aren't idiots. They're probably watching stuff like that too and saying, hey, if Rodgers is going to hold the ball that long, you guys, the defense is going to have to be smart. The Vikings are going to have to, hold their fort, line up like this. And then right when the clock goes to 1 second, you guys got to keep your eyes on the clock. When it goes to 1 second, boom, switch just like that. Rodgers will not know what's going on. It happened to him in the playoff game, and it scares me because if you're saying that's what they've been doing in practice, plus you said they're telling the corners to play aggressive, we're going to go after. Maybe these guys aren't going to have to block, or maybe they're not going to have to cover like Za'Darius and Danilo. Maybe their job is just go after the quarterback. And if that's all Za'Darius has to worry about,
he knows
you're going to be in good shape.
I might be okay.
Yeah, like and if they get pressure and the corners only have to block or have to worry about covering a guy for a couple seconds and they're playing a zone, if they look up like his man and all of a sudden they drop back in his zone, Rodgers will not throw into his zone because he doesn't want to throw a pick. So it scares me if that's what you're saying. Quick pressure on the quarterback, corners jumping routes and switching up at the last second. That equals bad news for Aaron Rodgers unless he can, please, God, change your ways. Just try a little bit of like a hurry-up offense. Change up the freaking play clock. Snap it at 15 seconds once or twice just so the defense is off kilter a little bit.
Right.
You let them get lined up every time. Yeah, you can see what they're going to do. But smart, good coaches do what the 49ers did. Yeah, you play the Lions or the whoever. Yeah, they're dumb. Okay, fine. We can take advantage of that. Great. But good coaches. And now guess what? The Vikings have good coaches. They don't have a guy who's from 1952 and still playing the same damn defense he ran, with the Cowboys in 1992, right? We don't need that. That's what the Vikings were doing. Now you got a guy who's like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do crazy stuff. We're going to run around and do, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Ed Donatell's old. He used to be a Packer coach, and he sucked. We got it. But still, maybe he learned some stuff hanging out with what's his face?
Vic Fangio?
Vic Fangio. Yeah, I was thinking Fritz Sherman. He's long gone. He's long gone. Vic Fangio. Same type of guy. But you know what I'm saying? That's good stuff. That's good stuff for you, Mo. Scary stuff for me.
And there's a simple fix for the Packers. Run the ball.
Yep.
Run the ball, at least have a equal distribution, like a 50-50, as close to 50-50 as the Packers can be. That will equal success for them because it'll take all those other equations out of things. But Viking Moe, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
we hope
thanks
the
for
Packers
having
run
me.
the ball. I'm sure you hope the Packers don't run the ball. And Captain Kirk, he's still going to make plays that are there.
We'll see.
He just
the
plays that
Packer
aren't
defense is probably the best it's been in a long time, in my opinion, anyway. And especially with getting Jair back healthy, and I'm really worried about Clark against Bradbury because he's going to just dump him in Cousins' lap all game long because that's just what's happened.
You should be
every
worried
other
if they
game.
put Jack
So,
Heflin in there against Bradbury. Or
anybody versus Bradbury, it doesn't have to be Clark.
Yeah, but I thought Bradbury is not. Didn't he lose his job at center now?
No, they tried to find someone else, but
okay.
He's actually a really good run blocker and a good athlete. His pass sets are just, I don't know, doesn't have enough anchor. I don't know what it is, but he just gets dumped in his lap, and that's just the worst thing that can happen to Kirk Cousins, or any quarterback, but especially Kirk. So, and then obviously they got a lot of playmakers on defense, so it'll be a good challenge for sure.
Well, we got some new guys. Our defensive line is almost night and day difference from the last couple of years. We've got veterans like Reed, who we just picked up, who's making plays. Our first round pick, who's not looking great, but hopefully he probably won't even be playing much. Dean Lowry, hopefully he doesn't stink. But the other thing,
he eats his Wheaties, he's good.
Right. The other thing is we got another guy who's fast and big at linebacker, who is a rookie, obviously, first round pick, doesn't know what's going on all the time, but
Quay Walker.
Yeah, but he's quick. And in the preseason, there's times where he's lined up in the middle, and it looks like he's 15 yards away from the back who just went out in the flat, and it looks like he's going to be good to go. The ball gets thrown there. Next thing you know, Quay Walker's there smacking him, tackling him for 3-yard gain, punt the ball. And he's just fast. He's super fast, and that's all that matters at this point. So when you got Campbell and Walker, they're both 6'4", 240 pounds, 4.4, 4.5 speed, and long arms. Aaron Rodgers has said in practice, he's like, it's hard. They take away all the passing lanes. It's like they're in the passing lane all the time. Now, Rodgers won't take a chance. Where Cousins might, maybe. I don't know. But so it's interesting. We're all excited as Packer fans, at least me. And
Gary's really coming into his own.
Gary is a terror. We don't have any other pass rush besides Gary, which is kind of scary. But otherwise, everything else looks good. The coverage looks great. So maybe eventually somebody will get there and do something.
Right.
But it's cool. It's exciting. I think as both Packers and Vikings fans, we have no idea what we're going to see. All new coaching staff for you guys. A lot of new coaches for us, too. We lost our offense coordinator. We lost our tight ends coach. We lost our quarterbacks coach. We lost defensive outside linebacker coach. He went to the Vikings, right? So we have a lot of changes on our coaching staff as well. Not a total overhaul like you guys have, but we also lost some big playmakers in offense, and so it's different. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a great game, a great start to the season. I wish your punter well when he's out there every time punting, and that's all I could say.
Don't hurt our returner when he has to tackle him. Last thing. Okay, final score time. Put your final scores in there. Final score. Viking Moe, final score. Or do you want to go? You can go first since you're the guest. Final score.
Oh, man.
Everybody loves it when we do final scores.
I'm going to say 27-24 Vikings with Greg Joseph hitting the game winner at the end. That's what I'm going to say.
Wow. Dramatic fashion.
Whoa.
I'm going to say it's going to be a low-scoring game because I think there's going to be lots of 3-and-outs. I think the defense is going to dominate. I'm going to say it's going to be 10-9. Packers. 10-9. Packers squeak it out.
I'm going to say it'll be 20 to 14. I think the Packers will give up a couple of deep passes, one to probably Jefferson and one to probably Thielen. But that's about it. I think our defense will do much better at stopping the run this year. And Cook is not as good as everybody says he is. So that's good news for us. And I will say we'll have probably a couple field goals from Mason Crosby and a touchdown on offense, and then Rasul Douglas pick 6. And that's why it'll be 20 to 14 Green Bay Packers to start off the year. And the Vikings punter will punt the ball 8 times.
Wow. I like it.
But there'll be 2 times where the Packers, they just get too aggressive and they give up a big touchdown pass to 2 receivers that are really good. Like, come on, you can't stop them the whole game. So I could see that. But most of the time, they're going to destroy them, and then there'll be 2 big plays. And it'll probably happen one really early, and the Packer fans will freak out. Bruce will be on the text thread being like, oh, my God, you guys are so crappy, and all this kind of stuff. And there you go.
It's going to be nuts there. It's going to be nuts.
Wait, I got a question for you, Mo, real quick.
Yeah.
No, real quick.
It's cool.
So Bruce says Greg Jennings has no business being in the Packer Hall of Fame. He said he's not good enough. What do you say as a Viking fan who watched Greg Jennings torch the Vikings, and as well as a whole bunch of other people, with Brett Favre at quarterback for a couple years, and then Aaron Rodgers for the next 3 years after that, plus terrorizing in the Super Bowl, getting the game 2 touchdowns and the game-winning catch when they really needed it on 3rd and 1,000,000 to seal the game. Do you think Greg Jennings deserves to be in the Packer Hall of Fame? Now, mind you, William Henderson is in the Packer Hall of Fame, who sucks, has no business being in there. I can name a couple other guys that have zero business being. Doug Evans is not for some reason. Nobody knows why he's not in there, but that's besides the point. So, what do you say? Do you think Greg Jennings at least deserves the Packer Hall of Fame, considering he, I think, was a Pro Bowl receiver and the number 1 receiver for about a 6-year period between 3 years of Brett Favre and 3 years of Aaron Rodgers?
I think that's the only thing is the period of time, maybe, right? Except the thing he obviously came to the Vikings and kind of finished his career elsewhere instead of all there. But I mean, and it took him a little while to get going, but I mean, he still, even as a rookie, was pretty good too. So I think there's certainly a case for it. I mean, you got other guys, I'm sure, in your Hall of Fame like Sterling Sharp and some other receivers, but you could. How would you feel about Devontae Adams then after he's been there for so many years and then gone to a different team? It's especially when they go to the rival. I mean, does it feel like they should be in the Hall of Fame? Maybe it taints the water a little bit for that sort of a thing, anecdotally. But you can't deny his production during this time he was there. Certainly,
yeah.
It's what they did for the Packers, and the other thing for Greg Jennings is that he was on a Super Bowl winning team, and he made key plays in that Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
So that puts but his stats and his production in the amount of opportunities he had in the time he was in Green Bay were good enough, but that puts him over the top. There should be no argument when you factor that in. Because what is it all about? Winning Super Bowls, right? It's not about just playing football and having big stats and winning MVPs. Oh, wait, maybe it is. But anyway, for some guys, it's about winning championships. And the fans want to win the freaking Super Bowl. Greg Jennings was a key piece to winning that Super Bowl. So that's why, yes, no argument to why he's in the Hall of Fame. He should be there.
Let me ask you this. Out of these 4 guys, okay, and I might take Jordy out of it because I think Jordy is scary. So I'm going to take him out of it. As a Viking fan who's been watching the Vikings and the Packers for 30, 40 years now, okay, out of these 3 guys, who is the guy that scared you the most? If it's a game-winning situation, let's say overtime, and it could be a big play that would take you over or something like that. We got Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Devontae Adams. Which one out of those 3 scared you as a Viking fan on 3rd and 7 from the 45-yard line with 1 or 2 seconds left, and you got to get a stop, or this guy takes it to the house? Which one would be the one that scare you the most?
I kind of thought Antonio Freeman was going to be on that list of 3.
No. Only if he's laying on his back and the ball bounces off a couple Vikings and then lands in him.
I'm still tortured by that
Can
one.
you body catch it? As long as you're in position to body catch it, there's a chance.
Yeah, that's tough a little bit because Donald Driver was really, really good for a while, and I mean, I don't know. I have a little bit of recency bias. I think probably with Devontae Adams though too. To be honest with you, and but it drove me nuts. Like, why don't we double team these guys? Why he's going to throw it to him? But I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one for me to say because they've all kind of torched the Vikings in their own way. To me, probably pretty close to equal amounts, but. I kind of with Jason's argument. I mean, you're part of a Super Bowl team. If the Vikings won the Super Bowl, I think everyone on the team would go in the Ring of Honor probably.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a good point. Like that's the point of playing the game, and he was obviously a humongous part of that Super Bowl win. So you kind of have to go that way, right?
Well, the answer is Greg Jennings. He's the one who scares you because he's the only guy who's had the most 30-plus yard touchdowns out of those 3 guys. Devontae Adams has only had 6 30-yard-plus touchdowns in his entire career. Greg Jennings had like 21 or something like that.
Wow.
So,
and we talked about it. I think it was last week or whatever. Like Greg Jennings, go back and watch some film on the guy. I mean,
he takes a 10-yard slant,
different.
70 yards for a touchdown.
It's just
different. Have you ever seen Devontae Adams do that? No, he doesn't have the speed.
No.
The other thing is Devontae Adams will catch the ball and run out of bounds right away all the time. And I said this last week to Jace. I was like, when Aaron Rodgers was young and like just threading the needle, right? Yep. He had Double D, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, James Jones, every one of those guys. When they caught the ball, they did whatever they could to get in the end zone because they didn't want the other guy to get the touchdown. But Devontae would get 170 balls thrown his way every year. So he knows he's the guy who's going to get the touchdown. Just catch the ball, go out of bounds. I'll get the ball again. It'll come right back to me again. And that makes you less scary. Because guess what? Sometimes things don't go right. If you have a chance to take it to the house, take it to the house. And that's why I just... Listen, I'm not saying Devontae's bad. I'm just saying Greg Jennings was a more dynamic player. Period. He got injured, and he was not the same player after he got injured. And that's why the Packers didn't sign him back. That's why when he went to the Vikings, he was not as dynamic. Though he had like 7 touchdowns with the Vikings or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't terrible. He just didn't have the speed anymore. But he still had great hands. Hardly ever dropped any balls, I'll tell you that. Anyways, I don't want to go crazy about it. I just was wondering what, as a Viking fan, what you thought. Because Bruce is like, no way. Greg Jennings does not deserve to be in the Packer Hall of Fame. And I'm just like, come on, Bruce. You know better than that. This guy, he made a bunch of huge plays. Look at
the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That puts it over the top. It's about winning Super Bowls. And we haven't won one in 12 years. And most teams never won one. So there you go.
And then real quick, the other guy that went to the Hall of Fame was Tim Harris. Do you even know who that is, Mo?
Tim Harris.
You would have been how old you know? Okay, you would have been like 9 years old or 10 years old.
Probably not. I didn't move to Minnesota till I was 9 years old.
Okay.
So the pain didn't start until you were 9. Okay.
Right. Well, the Twins won the World Series when I moved to Minnesota, so there was that.
Mo's got some good luck. Why can you bring the Vikings that good luck? Not this week, but maybe in future years.
I think I don't. If I haven't yet, I don't know how I'm gonna.
That's true. It's not gonna happen.
Needs
It's
to be
strong,
somebody
but
else.
it's strong.
You might be able to win every single game we play on Nerd Game Weekend, but the Vikings can't win it and get to the Super Bowl. I'll tell you that.
Well, that had nothing to do with luck. That's the problem.
Oh yeah. Whatever, Mr. Lucky Trophy winner 2 years in a row somehow.
You're talking lucky trophies like this lucky trophy?
Hey!
That's an awesome trophy. You don't deserve it.
My wife loves that it's just sitting right out here. It's for everyone to see.
It should be.
It's so crazy.
You should build a shrine to it.
I know.
As soon as there was a trophy involved, then Mo started winning.
Well, then it was worth something, you know?
Okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Mo's got to put his daughters to bed. We got stuff to do. Peace out. Be good. Thank you for your time, Mo. Good luck to your team on Saturday. Not Zedarius, but we still hope the Packers win 10-9.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Saturday, Sunday,
whatever I said. I don't
Sunday
know. I was like,
afternoon.
Are you talking the Gophers? I think the Gophers have a home game Saturday too. So
all right,
I don't know if he
Gophers
likes the
can win,
Gophers.
but the Vikings can't. How's that? Is that an even trade-off?
No, I want it the other way around.
All right, whatever. Well, Vikings are going to lose 10-9.
Yeah,
See you
Mo's
guys
the
next-
blue gold. He doesn't care about the Gophers.
I like the
blue. He's a
Gophers,
blue
but-
gold.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fair enough. Blue Golds win too. All right. Peace
All right.
out. See you guys next week. Oh,
See you
wait.
guys.
Don't forget our radio show tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Check
Radio
it out.
show. We have zero
Radio show,
plans.
first ever radio. I got a plan.
We can't be 5 minutes late on the radio show, Jerky. So you
Not
better
gonna
get
be
your
late.
stuff together
Radio
tomorrow.
shows are all about time. Mo is going to join us on the radio show sometime. Not this week because he's got a referee, but some
That's
other
true.
time. All right, peace out. Be good. Bye.
Bye.
Still